Did you know that there are plenty of over-the-counter herbs and foods and commonly available homeopathics that we can use to treat or prevent many common ailments and illnesses in our animals? And that's what I'd like to talk about today. My name is Dr. Michael Dim, and I'm a holistic veterinarian here in West Palm Beach, Florida. I offer both in-person consultations to clients in the South Florida area, and I also offer phone consultations nationwide and even internationally. So let's talk about some of these common over-the-counter natural products that are a substitute often for chemicals, drugs, and strong, harsh medication. First one I want to mention is black walnut, an herb that is commonly found in a lot of anti-parasitic formulas. But especially with my holistic clients, I found black walnut quite helpful in preventing and even treating heartworm infection. And in fact, I work with a store down here in Pompano that has a heartworm parasite blend that actually is wonderful at preventing heartworms. And I haven't seen a single case of heartworm in any patient that's been on the heartworm parasite blend. Again, one of the main ingredients is black walnut. Did you also know that even something as common as watermelon, simple as watermelon in the kitchen, that's a very, very 92% water and full of vitamins like vitamin A and vitamin B and C and potassium. And that, when our animals seem a little dehydrated, we can actually give them some watermelon, and that can do wonders in restoring hydration. The herb slippery elm is another one that commonly used for many conditions, especially the digestive tract, treating both and preventing both diarrhea, constipation, and even vomiting. So a lot of times when we put our animals on a raw meat diet, they'll go through some detoxification as the body does some house cleaning, getting rid of some toxins or poisons that have built up in the system. And in those cases, rather than going to strong drugs like metronidazole and the nausea drug Serenia, we'll often have clients use slippery elm liquid preparations, often mixed with a little bit of honey. And it's wonderful how it can really restore the health of the gut and the health of the digestive tract as it's going through the detox process. Manuka honey is another wonderful, version of honey that I use in everyday practice for so many things. A lot of animals with dental or gum problems, often rubbing some Manuka honey or coconut oil along the tooth line or the gum lining can do wonders in cutting down on the bacteria in the mouth and lessening, the degree of gingivitis that develops. I also use Manuka honey as a natural antibiotic in our animals with kennel cough often respond wonderfully to a teaspoon or two of Manuka honey mixed in with the food a couple of times a day. Honey is also excellent to use if you have a seizuring animal, and often will bring them out of seizures very, very quickly when applied directly to the mouth. So honey is wonderful. It's also useful for topically for hot spots and local bacterial infections on the animal. And so I often have clients use it topically to affected skin lesions, along with often coconut oil, which has some wonderful antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties. So I often use these products topically instead of strong steroids and antibiotic preparation. Raw goat's milk and kefir is another excellent natural food based addition to a good quality fresh meat diet. And what I like about these is they're kind of like natural food-based probiotics for our animal. They contain enzymes and natural probiotic ingredients that are wonderful for the health of the digestive tract. So instead of using synthetic or manufactured probiotics, we can get by using food sources like kefir or raw goat's milk. So again, those are also wonderful products to help support the immune system, the skin, and the health of the digestive tract. Bone broth is another wonderful, excellent addition to to our animals' diets. Bone broth is loaded with nutrients, is wonderfully hydrating. Again, in those dehydrated circumstances with an upset stomach, giving our animals bone broth can really restore hydration, and it's full of electrolytes. Bone broth also has, excellent nutrients in there for the health of the bones and the joints. So as a, protocol, part of a comprehensive protocol for healthy bones and joints, I'll often include bone broth as well in our animals' dietary regimens. Apple cider vinegar, such as Bragg's apple cider vinegar, a very, very good brand. Apple cider vinegar has a ton of uses in our animals and in people. In fact, there are books written on, hundreds of usages of apple cider vinegar that can, prevent and treat all sorts of conditions. In our animals, I especially use it to help acidify, help to keep the body at the right pH. So we often add like a teaspoon or two to the food. You might have to dilute it because the taste isn't very, very good. But apple cider vinegar diluted can be used in the ears, like a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 dilution with some warm water is wonderful as a natural antifungal and antibacterial preparation in the ears, often less toxic than, again, the topical steroid antibiotic creams. You can use it on hot spots or local yeast infections. Apple cider vinegar has a wonderful reputation in treating and preventing yeast infections in our animals, which are unfortunately very, very common in today's especially allergic pet. But that a wonderful addition as well. People will often use sardines even as a food-based source of omega-3 fatty acids for animals, as long as it's water-based and not kept in oil, and it's an omega-3 based sardine. And so sometimes giving our animals some, sardines can actually be helpful for the skin and the coat, and again, the omega-3s for the joints as well. Using collagen is another new and kind of exciting use of a natural product in our bodies. Collagen can be useful to help with healthy joints and arthritis. It's very, very good for healthy bones. It boosts the appetite so that our animals are eating better. So if our animals are a little under the weather with some sort of chronic disease or acute disease, giving them some collagen can be tremendously helpful. It aids in digestion. And again, it's very, very good for healthy bones and joints. Ticks are very, very tough to prevent in our animals. And I've often had clients use even something like turmeric essential oil, putting a few drops down the back, starting at the top of the neck, mid back, and lower back. And turmeric essential oil can actually be a tick repellent as well as so yeah, turmeric essential oil can be used as a preventative as well as treating animals that have exposed to ticks. Ticks can be very, very tough. There are a lot of good essential oil products out there, but you may want to try turmeric essential oil, put down the spine of the animal and see if that can work to help prevent or treat tick infestation. Also, sprinkling a little bit of turmeric powder in the food. Turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory, and it's wonderful for any inflammatory process in the body, from degenerative joint disease to spinal cord inflammation to allergic skin disease to other chronic inflammatory diseases. Adding turmeric to the food as a fresh herbal spice can do, again, wonders and can often replace or lessen the need for traditional drugs and other harsh chemicals that are needed. Finally, the d-mannose and cranberry, I put those together. I use those all of the time. D-mannose is a sugar molecule, but it's been shown to have wonderful effects for preventing infection and even treating infection in the urinary tract. It actually prevents the adherence or the colonization of bacteria to the bladder lining. Cranberry is known to do that as well, and has actually been shown to decrease the adherence of bacteria known as E. coli, which is one of the main bacteria involved with bladder infections in our animals. So I'll often use d-mannose and cranberry in animals predisposed to UTIs, especially cats, where if they develop crystals, that can, especially in a male cat, develop into blockages and obstructions and can be life-threatening. So I often use d-mannose and or cranberry as a preventative as well as a therapeutic part of our treatment protocols in these. And finally, I just wanted to go through just a few homeopathic remedies that you want to have right in on your medicine cabinet shelf, just really, really briefly. The homeopathic remedy arnica is wonderful for any trauma, any injuries in the patient, post-operatively. So I use it in patients that, let's say, have had dentals or there's pain, surgeries, any lump removals, God forbid. In previous videos we talk about trying not to remove lumps in our animals. So arnica is good for when there's any trauma, any blunt trauma like automobile injuries, animals that have trauma that lead to fractures. Arnica is often the first remedy that we go to, and again, can often replace anti-inflammatories like Rimadyl and gabapentin And arnica, I find, works more quickly and without the side effects of some of these other. There's another remedy called hypericum, which is also very, very good for when there's a lot of nerve pain. So with blunt trauma to the spine or with disc disease, the remedy hypericum is wonderful. If there's any puncture or a wound from a puncture, the remedy hypericum, along with another remedy called ledum, Ledum, is wonderful for preventing infection from punctures or bites. And those two remedies, ledum and hypericum, have both been shown to prevent and treat tetanus in our animals. Ledum is also effective in preventing Lyme disease because it actually decreases when you have a tick bite, since that's the origin of Lyme disease. Ledum is a remedy that a lot of people use first to prevent the development of clinical Lyme disease in our animal. And finally, with fractures, there's homeopathic remedies like symphytum, which is an excellent remedy to help accelerate the callus formation in the fractures. And I've seen, and it's been written up even in orthopedic textbooks, that the homeopathic remedy symphytum accelerates fracture healing and again lessens pain. Another remedy called calc phos is another remedy that comes in when we want to accelerate fracture healing in us. So, granted, they may still need a splint or a pin or plate, but the using the homeopathic remedies from arnica to hypericum and then following up with symphytum and calc-phos often accelerates fracture healing and really lessens pain in our animals. So I've listed here several herbs, common foods, nutrients, over-the-counter products that you want to have on hand that can be wonderful in preventing and treating so many illnesses in our animal. My name is Dr. Michael Dim, and I'm a holistic veterinarian here in South Florida. And I offer in-person consultations in the West Palm Beach area, and I also offer phone consultations nationwide. Thank you very much.